Hello, everyone, and welcome to our free May webinar, Managing Client Communications and Bookkeeping Workflows with Ease. As you're joining me, let me know in the chat where you're joining me from. I always love to learn about where you're joining from because we usually have people from all over the world, which is so exciting to see just the connection that we have with each other. And so let me know in the chat if you can hear me and where you're joining me from. We have Natalia from Maryland and Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Tony, Sandra from Chicago, Starlene. And now it goes too fast for me to be able to see. And awesome. So Ben has joined us. Hello, Ben.
Hey, Veronica, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm super excited to
Sure. And while people are they're letting us know in the chat where they're joining us from, Ben, if you want to, from the upper left-hand side of your screen, there's a little, I think it says cameras, and then there's a plus sign. From there, you can share your screen.
Okay, perfect.
You don't have to share it yet because I'm actually gonna just do my short intro, and then you can be ready to do that.
Yeah, I have things up and running, ready whenever.
Awesome. Very well. And yeah, we still have Troy. Well, still not Troy. I mean, we have people letting us know where they're joining from. We had over 800 people sign up for this webinar. So I think we usually get 200 to 300 joining us live, and then everyone else gets the recording. So it's super exciting. And I see Jennifer from Plano, Texas, a fellow Texan. Hello, Jennifer. Sheila from South Carolina. Brandy from Illinois, and it just keeps going. And Sarah, it says Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. How that sounds very exotic. And Adam is joining us from Milwaukee. I was just at the Universal Accounting Conference with Adam and Ben. We said very wonderful things about Keeper at the conference. I'm sorry you couldn't make it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So as everyone is joining us today, I'm just going to get started, and that way I'll try to give as much time to Ben because we're all super excited. As you know, Ben, and as people know that I have been talking about Keeper for several months now. We finally have implemented Keeper at our firm starting at the beginning of this year. Our clients absolutely love it. Our team loves it. And so we're just so super excited to have Ben with us. So our topic today is managing client communications and bookkeeping workflows with ease with myself and Ben Stein with Keeper.app. And in case you don't know me, I am the CEO and founder of VMwasec, and we specialize in working with Shopify sellers. We do bookkeeping and consulting for them. I'm also the creator of the YouTube channel and blog called 5 Minute Bookkeeping. I'm the founder of the Facebook group called 5 Minute Bookkeeping Community and founder of the 5MB Academy for Virtual Bookkeepers, in which I empower you to become confident business owners and professionals. And really my goal and my mission is to help you become a better bookkeeper. I have been named a top 10 and top 100 QuickBooks Pro Advisor. I'm a CPA and advanced certified in QuickBooks Online. And I live in Sugar Land, Texas. And you can follow me at 5 Minute Bookkeeping on Instagram. Just some admin notes for you guys. All content, handouts, and recordings that you will see today are under copyright. So you may not record this webinar. Obviously, we have the chat, so you can put things in the chat, talk amongst yourselves in the chat while Ben is presenting and doing his presentation. I'll be monitoring the chat. If you have questions for Ben or for myself, then go ahead and put those in the Q&A. Or if you put them in the chat, there'll be a little box in which you can turn that that chat into a question, and then we will answer your questions at the end of Ben's presentation. And a recording will be emailed to everyone. So if you have to leave early, everyone who registered for today's webinar will receive a recording, and the email with the recording will also include a link to our handout, which is very short, so don't worry about it if you don't get the handout, but you also should be able to get the handout from your attendee window, I guess, if you call it, your portal, whatever you call it, under handouts. You'll be able to get your handouts. All right, so what's then on our agenda for today? We're going to go over the Keeper app, and Ben Stein is going to do that presentation for us, and then we'll go into Q&A. So before Ben gets started, I just wanted to introduce him. And Ben, if I leave something out, feel free to fill it in.
Of course.
So let's see, Ben, you and I met through Facebook, through my Facebook group. I think you reached out to me probably at least a year ago. I think it might maybe a couple of years ago by now. And so Ben reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm creating this software called Keeper, and it really piqued my interest." And he and I have been collaborating since then. And then I have seen Keeper become really the app to rule all apps, as I like to call it, because it just does so much. Ben is the co-founder and CEO of Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. And prior to founding Keeper, he was the CFO of Mira, where he managed internal finance operations, strategic finance, and investor relations. And he also has experience as an external accountant for other startups. So Ben really has this accounting background that helps so much in building software for accountants and bookkeepers, because he understands us and has always been so interested in addressing our needs. And that's why I love Keeper, because I just feel like every need that we had that wasn't being addressed, or that, we had to put like 5 apps together to do something, Keeper does for us. And let's see. Okay, we'll share that discount later. So Ben, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. And before I do that, I want to mention one more bullet that should be here, which is like, so the way that we found Veronica in the first place is I have known about Veronica for years from her YouTube channel, and many of the ways that I learned bookkeeping, learned core accounting concepts, and learned how to apply them in QuickBooks and in technology, I learned from Veronica's 5-Minute Bookkeeping channel. So I would say, if you're not looking for stuff in that YouTube channel, you should be. It really is amazing educational resources, and I would say it informed a lot of what has now gone and been designed into Keeper.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And, I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I'm always amazed at the extent that the things that I do and my passion for education is affecting so many people, which I think is great.
And it shows. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screen sharing going here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, and can I stop you for, oh no, never mind. Someone says they have no audio, so I can't talk to them. I handle it in the chat. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So before I dive into just an outright product demo here and walk through a bunch of the things that we do in Keeper, I want to take a step back and talk about what it is that one app to run your bookkeeping business really means. And I think Veronica did a good job illustrating about how we can make the job of running a month-end close, of doing your bookkeeping work, less stressful by putting it all in one place. That's sort of a lot of our core mandate. But I think it helps to talk about what we see as sort of the four core pieces of Keeper that I'm going to walk through over the course of today's call. The first one of those is workflow. So this is all of the tools that you need to do to stay on top of your work and your team's work, to make sure everything is progressing apace and your closes are being delivered according to your deadlines and the tasks within those closes are getting done. So keeping your finger on the pulse of the work that needs to get done, actually doing that work. So that I don't think workflow needs to be belabored too much. I think a lot of people have talked about the importance of workflow, the importance of having everything in one system. But what makes Keeper so unique is that it's not just a tool for tracking that work, but because Keeper is really deeply integrated to the general ledger, you can actually do that work here too. And so that workflow really is sort of a base layer that all of the other things lay on top of, and that is infused deeply with QuickBooks data. So workflow is number one. Number two is file reviews. So these are tools that you can use to catch and correct coding issues and coding discrepancies within the QuickBooks file itself. And then you can also correct those issues directly from Keeper by virtue of our sync with QuickBooks. The third is the way you can communicate with your clients. So if you need to ask them for uncategorized transaction questions, if you need to ask them for a statement request, if you need to ask them for a W-9 for a new vendor, if you need to publish their financials, all of that can be done again directly from Keeper without needing to go bounce back and forth between different applications. And then in that, I sort of alluded to it as well, which is the ability to publish financials. So your final deliverable can also be done here through Keeper. We have management reporting that you can use to generate not just the 3-statement financials, but also other high-level summaries. So like one-sheeter executive summaries, custom KPIs you want to track, visualizations you want to give your clients so that you can give them a cohesive picture of their financials, again, directly through Keeper and in one place in your Keeper client portal so that the clients have one place they need for everything, and then you have one place you need for everything you need from your client. So that's sort of what it means to be an all-in-one app. So that means we're constantly doing a lot. There's a whole lot more under the hood that we haven't even talked about, things like time tracking, things like intercompany transfers that we could get into if we have time. But really, it's all about how can we take more and more of your work, put it in one place so that a one tab, one screen accounting and bookkeeping workflow is a reality. Okay. So all of that starts right here on this first screen, which is what we call the dashboard or the client list. So this is a high-level overview of all the work that you need to do, all of the questions that you have from your clients, all of the high-level status indicators about that client or any information that you need for that, who's responsible for it. All of that is right here on the client list. And so here, for example, if we look on the right, this is all of the tasks that you need to do across each client to close their books and deliver their financials. They're sort of broken down into different stages of the close. And then if you see anything that's in red here, that means that it's an overdue task. And in Keeper, we're big believers in giving you as much as you can potentially access without needing to go through pages and pages of information. So for example, right from here, if we want to see what pre-close task is in Jensen that's still overdue, we don't need to go all the way into the close to see that. We can actually just click right here and we can see the actual task here. So we're supposed to make sure that employee spend was coded at the appropriate departments on the 5th. That was assigned to me, and it's in progress, but not yet completed. But so since it's the 24th here, that's why this is flagged as overdue. And same applies for any questions you have for your clients. So we can see in Jensen as well, we have one question answered of 3 that we've asked, and we can click here as well and see the open questions that we have, see the answers that our clients have given us all right from here without needing to go into the close itself. So you can think of this like a high-level dashboard overview where you can really keep your finger on the pulse of where all your clients are. And one more thing I'll mention for the more visual, more Trello-minded accountants and bookkeepers in the room, we also have this same style of structure built out as a Kanban as well.
Ben? Mm-hmm. Can I ask you at the bottom of your screen where it says bigmarker.com and sharing your screen, just hide that. It's just a little distracting.
No, good point. Cool. All right, so that's a lot of what we do here on the client list, but really where a lot of your work will get done in Keeper is on the close page. So if we click a client's close, that's going to take us to the close page here. This is where all of your work lives. So this is where all of your tasks live. This is where we're going to pull in that QuickBooks data. This is where you'll send emails to your clients. This is where you'll ask clients questions into their portal. And so all of these are sort of here on the close page. And then as far as tasks go, we have two core types of tasks: non-closing tasks and closing tasks. Your non-closing tasks are anything that are tied directly to your client. So this would be something like biweekly payroll processing, weekly bank feed coding, quarterly sales tax, anything, or just random one-off tasks here, anything that is part of your client and part of the work that you need to do for them as part of your service requirements, but is not tied to the actual close itself. So not tied to the work that you need to do to close and deliver March. And then everything else below the non-closing tasks is. So that's all of the rest of your pre-close checklist, any adjusting journal entries you might make, any accounts you might reconcile. So those are all what we call closing tasks. And those are tied directly to the close that you're working on. And they'll automatically repeat monthly as you start new month-end closes for that client. And I think the account reconciliation section is a really interesting section because it's the first section where you can start to see the impact of Keeper sync with QuickBooks. So for starters, when you integrate a client's file, we're going to pull all of the bank and credit card accounts that you need to reconcile. We're going to show you the date of the last reconciled transaction for that account. We're going to show you the balance of that account at month end, and you can upload files to any of these tasks here. So if you want, you can upload the statement right here. You can upload the reconciliation report right here. And because of all of the structure that's pre-built into the tasks within Keeper, just adding this task is going to give you all of the needed structure so that you can find any statements, any documentation you need whenever you need it. So for example, if you wanted to see all of your March statements, all you need to do is go to your March close right here, and they're right there. And then you can also see all files that you've ever uploaded by going to this document button right here, going to your files. And then here, for example, we can search for Chase, and here we can see our January, February, and March Chase statements all just a click away. And so all of that structure is just built out by uploading this, this file to that particular task. And then as we come down here to the transaction review, this is the start of Keeper's month-end review. So each one of these reports are designed to show you something that you want to review about your client's ledger, about your client's financial statements, before you actually go and deliver management reporting to them. So for example, here in the expense inconsistency report, this is the first report in the transaction review, although I should mention all of these are reorderable depending on your preference. And so here in the expense inconsistency report, this acts like a second set of eyes on your bank feed coding work. So what this is doing is it's looking at all the transactions you've coded in the last month. It's cross-referencing all of the information about those transactions against the same historical transactions that you've already coded. And then it's flagging any discrepancies where something has been coded to a different account or different vendor in the current period from how it was coded in the past. So for example, here with Zoom, we can see it's coded to office supplies in March. But if we click this arrow on the left for more information, we can see that typically Zoom is coded to software. So Keeper's going to flag that for your review. Maybe there's a good reason for it. Maybe there's not. But if you want to correct that transaction and update what's in QuickBooks, all you need to do is click the cell you want to edit, type the change you want to make, hit enter, and that will instantly sync this change back to QuickBooks. And so now if we went and pulled up this Zoom transaction in QuickBooks, we'd see that it's now been coded to software, not office supplies. Sometimes there are some transactions that you don't know how to classify, and so you need your client's input on those. And so if you're putting those in a suspense account today, maybe uncategorized expense, maybe client to advise, you can put those in a suspense account and then pull them into the uncategorized transactions report here. And then this is the point where you can start asking your clients those questions. So for example, we have just this one transaction here. And so we can click Ask Client, and we can add a question here, or we can even use a template question. So for those of you that are larger with teams and you want to make sure that everyone's speaking in the same language, template questions are a great way to make sure of that. So if you wanted to make sure that every single person is always asking, what is this for, the same way, or please upload a receipt for this transaction the same way, you can really easily ensure that by using template questions here as well. And then once you add that to the client's portal, it's immediately available in their portal where they can go to give feedback on that. So now I'm going to actually pause the Keeper side of things and go pop into that portal so that y'all can see what your clients will see when they go to their portal in Keeper. And so that's over here. Although what I'm showing y'all now is the base Keeper portal. but 90 to 95% of our firms actually white label this portal. And so what that means is instead of the client portal living at Keeper.app/client, the client portal will instead live at your domain. So something like clients.bmwasik.com. And then it has your own logo here, your own color scheme. And then you're also even able to integrate your email so that any notifications you send your clients about new questions in the portal will actually come directly from your connected email address. They'll be in your outbox. The clients will see it as coming from your email rather than from Keeper. So the entire experience feels much more like an extension of your own firm services rather than one more app you're trying to convince your clients to use. And then here on the client portal, they'll get taken into the dashboard. And this dashboard, by the way, I should mention, is both web and mobile friendly. So it is still just a link they need to click. There's nothing else that they need to go to download, but it will still feel like an app. It will still work like an app on their phone as well. So very mobile friendly. And then on the dashboard, a few things that they can see. First is if you have a sticky note, so you want to give them a link or a main key resource to like their your calendar booking link so they can book their monthly meeting. You can have that here. They can see any open questions you've asked them about, any transaction or non-transaction questions, as well as any questions they have asked you about in the portal that you've answered. And they can see their financial reports right here as well. So while we're here, I think it's just a good time to sort of give you a quick tour about what a financial report looks like that you can generate in Keeper. So here, of course, I mentioned this has the 3-statement financials, but that's not all it has. So in addition, you can also have high-level management reports, so an executive summary where you can add your own personalized commentary, where you can show your clients high-level trends in how their business is changing and compare it against the prior periods and prior years. And then you can also track and deliver on this page custom key metrics that you can build out as custom formulas within Keeper, or that you can use as any financial values that already exist in your P&L balance sheet or cash flow statement, and put that all together here as a comprehensive executive summary so that if your clients only have 30 seconds, 60 seconds to read what's going on in their business for that month, this can be the report that they read. And then if they're interested about something, if they want to drill down for further information, of course, the P&L, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, they're all right here, just a scroll away. So just right down below. And then we also have other management reports and customized visualizations. So you can give your clients trend-based visuals of how their business is evolving over time. And so you can see here, that's right here in the portal, so that when you publish financials to the portal, they go to the portal. You can also deliver them as email, or you can download them if that's more your preference. But one of the really nice things about putting them in the portal is it gives your clients one more reason to go into the portal and see the open questions that you have, so that they can see, okay, my bookkeeper just did such an amazing job delivering these reports. That is the whole reason I'm paying them. Let me go and do the one tiny unit of effort of answering their transaction questions so that they can actually give me even more accurate financials. And so here, this is that AP Indigo transaction we asked our clients about that was sitting in uncategorized earlier. And so our clients can see what we asked. They can come here and add a comment. They can say, hey, this is our workers' comp policy. And then once they answer that, you, or if you work on a team, whoever is working on this file, will get notified so that you can take action back here in Keeper. But this is not just a portal for uncategorized transaction questions. I should emphasize that. You can also ask for things like document requests. So Keeper has reports to help you identify the vendors that might need 1099s, and then go and ask for the W-9s for those vendors. And then when the clients upload these, then you're able to push that information back into QuickBooks, push the file that they uploaded in as an attachment back into QuickBooks, so that you can continue to maintain all of that information directly in the ledger while having this one central place to communicate. All right, so our client has now answered a question, so we can hop back out of the portal and come back here into Keeper. But before we talk about what happens now that our client has answered our question, I want to talk about what happens if they don't. So here in the client portal, we have this reminders enabled setting. And if you check this box, Keeper will automatically email your client about any outstanding unanswered questions on a weekly basis, prompting them to go back into the portal and give you some feedback. You can change that, so it's fully customizable, but all you need to do is check this box here saying reminders are enabled. And then if the client has questions, so it'll only send it if there are outstanding open questions, then they'll get a weekly automated email reminder. And then as we come down here to the client question section, this is where we can see our answers now that our clients have given them. So that AP Indigo transaction that we asked about, we can see the answer our clients gave us. They told us it was workers' comp. If we wanted to, we could add this answer to the memo in QuickBooks. And so we can click Add to Memo here, and that's just going to append it to the statement descriptor in the memo in QuickBooks. And then if we want, we can also respond for more information. So this would be like if we needed more information to know how to classify something, or now we need a receipt because our clients gave us an answer, we can add a follow-up question here as well, and that's going to put it back in our client's portal. And then, of course, now that we have the answer we need, we've posted it to the statement descriptor. We can also now just reclassify it, type workers' comp, hit enter here, and that'll instantly update QuickBooks. And I'll mention here, if you need to create a new expense account, if you need to create a new vendor, you can do both of those here as well. And this will create that new entity in QuickBooks as well. All right, so I have a few more reports I want to show. One more here, if we bounce back up to the Payee Entity Review, is the Prepare 1099s report. This report is designed to help you stay on top of the vendors where you need to maybe deliver 1099s at year end. And so basically what this report is doing is it's pulling all of your vendors by year-to-date spend. It's excluding any spend on a credit card. It's cutting that off at $600. And then it's showing you any information that you may or may not already have in QuickBooks. So for example, here, if we look at Rippling, we can see we have their email, we have their address, we have their tax ID, and we have marked that they do not need a 1099 in QuickBooks. Carta, for example, though, we have $25,000 in year-to-date spend. We don't have their email, we don't have their address, we don't have their tax ID. We don't know whether or not they need a 1099, and so we can ask for that from our client. And if we ask that from our client and add it to the client portal, that's going to add it to the client's portal where they can go to give us feedback. So if we pop back here into the portal, our client can now see that please upload a W-9 for Carta question has been added here as well. Of course, if you ask a question in error, you can always delete that question here too. And then once your clients give you an answer, so any files that they already have here, you can see those files. You can see any files that are already existing in QuickBooks or any files that your clients have uploaded. And then once you see a file, you can extract out all the information that you need. You can update the client's or the vendor's name in the client file. You can update the tax information, the email, the address, the country, and then that will all sync back to QuickBooks here as well. So it will fill out that vendor card so that when 1099 filing season rolls around, all you need to do is just export this list, sort of filter by who actually needs a 1099, and then export this list here. And then you can upload that to Tax 1099 or Track 1099 or the e-filing solution if you're choosing. And so this was a good report to run actually every month so that you make sure that this isn't work that's piling up for you at year end, so that when year end rolls around, you have all the documentation that you need, you've kept all your vendors up to date. And so filing 1099s becomes this much, much easier work of just uploading a single CSV into an e-filing solution rather than this enormous effort of going and collecting all this information from your clients and from their vendors. And then I'll finish this off with one last report. That's actually my personal favorite report here in Keeper. So here in the final review on the P&L, so of course this has more workflow embedded into it. So if you have a checklist of things you want to review on the P&L, you can have that right here with your P&L. And then as you come down here onto the P&L itself, here you can see Keeper is automatically flagging the income and expense accounts that change significantly from their historical trend. So for example, software is up 800%, it's up $30,000. And if we click for more information, we can see that the reason that that has increased so much is because of Carta. So what Keeper is doing here is instead of just showing you 200 different transactions in software, Keeper is actually going to group those up by vendor and then run the same trend analysis on the vendor as well. So we can see which vendors are instrumentally responsible for the increases in the expense account as well. Number two is no payees as well, which is probably a bad example because we do have a transactions without payees report, but this is demo data, so it's not always the most pristine. And so if you click again, for more information, then at this point, you can see all of the associated transactions that make up that spend total. And then here, for example, you can even collaborate with your team. So if you wanted to tag a team member to, for example, move this to the prepaids ledger and then add it to the tracker and then build out an amortization schedule over 12 months, you can tag a team member. When you tag someone, they'll get notified. So it works like email. And then they'll see anything that you've tagged them in so that they can go and give you feedback on that as well. Or they can go and say, hey, yeah, I've done this now too. And then, of course, as far as moving into the prepaids itself, all you need to do is just type prepaids here, hit enter, and that, again, will instantly move this from software to prepaid expenses too. All right, so with that, I think that's a pretty natural stopping point to just pause on the sort of like standard demo. So Veronica, if you have anything else you want me to show in here as well, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, happy to pop back into Q&A too.
Yes, let me get back on the camera. There we go. I'm just looking at the comments, and Carol says, how on earth is one software able to do all this? Where have you been? And you've been busy. That's for sure. Yeah, Carol, I feel the same way because I just had so many pain points. We all do, like so many pain points, and not one software was addressing everything for us. And Starlene is saying, oh, wow, I didn't realize what expand to payee level meant. And so she's freaking out. But yeah, really, Keeper is really truly a game changer in all of the functionality that it has. Also, the fact that, Ben, I'm always saying wonderful things about Keeper, but I feel like you're revolutionizing our industry because you're putting together a product based on our needs. And so it's not based on what you think from your software developer standpoint, not understanding our pain points. You have gone out of your way to understand our pain points. And I know you and I have had many long discussions where I felt like, well, if it would only do this, if it would only do that. And Ben would say, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, right, in 3 years, I'm sure. And he would say, no, 3 weeks. And I'd be like, what? Okay, so some of you guys are putting your questions in the chat, so go ahead and put those in the Q&A. And so that way I can manage both. I'm going to start with the questions that are in the Q&A currently, Ben, and then I will go back and kind of remanage the chat and convert some of those to questions if people don't do that themselves. Okay, so yeah, so we have several questions already. So Leah is asking, is it possible to select one or more unique accounts we consider a suspense account, or is it only a predefined setting that pulls the transactions into an area to ask clients about?
Great question. So do you want me to, it looks like some of these, as I'm just parsing through these, may relate to the app. So should I just like share my screen, I guess, again? Okay, cool.
Sorry. I was muted. Yes, I was sneezing.
Perfect. So I'll be bouncing back and forth here. So to answer, whose question was it? To answer Leah's question, or Leah's question, yes, you can absolutely add multiple suspense accounts. There's a couple of ways you can do that. So here in the uncategorized transactions report specifically, you can map any suspense accounts you want in here directly. So if you want to have all of those in one report, you can easily do that. And then also, if you wanted to separately itemize specific suspense reports as specific custom reports, you can add a new account task by going to the bottom of your transaction review and clicking the Add New Account Task button. And then you can add your suspense account reports here as well.
Yeah, I love that, Ben, because it's not just this, oh, if it goes into Ask My Accountant, it can be any account that you want to use. And especially for some of us who are more specialized, that, we have specific accounts that we need to be managing. That's great. Victoria's asking, I will answer this question because I already know the answer. Victoria's asking, is Keeper an Intuit app? It is not. It is a Ben Stein and Kenny song app. So they Ben and Kenny are Kenny is your co-founder, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no relationship to Intuit, and please don't ever sell it to Intuit.
On a recorded line here, I have to say we love Intuit as long as their API continues to be reliable. But we're very happy as an independent company.
Yeah. Michelle's asking, can clients upload receipts? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, I lost it. Hold on one second. I might have picked the wrong. Okay. When people vote on questions, they move up. And so I lost sorry, Michelle, I lost you. So I will get back to you. But Adam is asking, is there an area to have client information like contact info plus add activity notes similar to a CRM?
Yeah, great question. And so the answer is yes. So I'm going to show what this looks like on the in client view here. So here, this is like your client smart card. So you can define any custom properties that you want to store for your clients, and you can put those all right here. We have a ton here. This is a very messy list, but so you can put those all right here. The other nice thing about Keeper is back on the dashboard, you can actually bring those properties that exist in your CRM and add those here on the client list as well. So for example, if you want to make sure that you service your top tier clients first, you can filter that as a custom view. So we can bring on our service tier CRM property right to here. We can filter that view, and then we can save a custom view and say this is gold tier service clients. And then you can save that as a custom view. So that way you can make sure that you can easily toggle to that filtered list of your clients.
Fantastic. I'm taking notes. Well, you've added so much functionality that it's hard to keep up with some of it, but this is wonderful. Ina is asking, can I ask client questions without going into a specific task?
So I guess, no, in that you have to at least go to the non-transaction questions task. But what I'll mention is like, they don't have to be tied to a particular transaction, if that makes sense. So you can add a manual one-off question here, or you can set up recurring requests here. So for example, if you need a regular monthly statement from your clients, you can set that up to auto-publish into the portal every month. And so you do still need to go to the non-transaction questions task from here, but it doesn't need to be tied to any particular QuickBooks entity.
Fantastic. Sonia is asking, do you have the option for calendar view as well?
We don't yet. We are working on it. It is a super common request. And I'm going to take this opportunity to plug our Canny, which is one of the big ways that we listen to customers. So here, if you search for our calendar view, you can see this is one of our top requested features. That's Keeper.app.canny.io. And so we are planning on adding one, but it is not live just yet.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, guys, really, they listen to you and they implement the things that we're all asking for. And even sometimes things that, it would be nice to have, and like, a week later, like, oh, it's live. So yeah, you guys are busy.
We like being busy. I mean, I think one of the really nice things is that we're not just software people. Like, I run my month-end close in Keeper, and that means every month, anytime we see something that like candidly sucks, we go and make it better, because it impacts my finances as much as it impacts all of yours. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy about being able to use our own product every single month, is that we make sure that we're always tying back to making sure that this is something that is usable software that's saving time.
Fantastic. And actually, while we are answering questions, I was just gonna put in a link for you guys to just, if you want to sign up for Keeper, you get a special discount through my affiliate link, 20% discount for your first 3 months. So Ben is very kind to extend this discount to our community. So thank you. So I'm just going to keep that up for everyone. If you want to sign up, then you can just click there, and you also have the link posted to the top of the chat. Okay, Ori is asking, can clients upload their receipts to the app?
Great question. So I want to talk about what they can do and what they will be able to do eventually. So right now, if you ask for a receipt directly from your client, so as a transaction question, for example, we have our transactions or expenses and bills without attachments report. So this is commonly an example of what are the transactions that may need receipts. And so we've got, let's say, this Vanta charge. We want to go and ask our clients for a receipt for this. We can ask them to upload a receipt. Once we put that question in the portal, it's available for our clients to go give us input on. So they can say, please upload a receipt, and the client can go in and drag and drop in a file here if they have one, or if they don't have one, or if they're out of pocket, they can take a picture directly from their phone just by clicking the link to your portal. So that's what they can do today. So it's very much directed. They can also just like dump a bunch of files for you just by asking a question and then dragging and dropping in files as an attachment to that as well. But it's a little inelegant. And so the what they will be able to do is our number one most requested feature is receipt capture and storage. So this is something we are planning on working on. And so what this will look like is this will be just a better way for them to dump a bunch of receipts in as needed, forward receipts into an inbox, OCR based on that so that you can post to the appropriate transaction or create new transactions in QBO. So this is in the works, not live just yet, but definitely the number one feature request for a reason.
Awesome. And of course, once you have the feature, then they'll want it, well, you need to categorize it by class and by project. And
yep. Yeah, and we already support natively class, project, location, awesome. Expense categorization. So as well as if you turn those on, you also get new custom reports for things like, I think we have one here, transactions without class, or the class inconsistency report, which operates the same way as the expense inconsistency report, but it's checking for inconsistencies with the class, not with the expense accounts.
Okay. I'm going to combine a few questions that I have seen about, can you use Keeper? So obviously we can use it with QuickBooks Online, but there are some questions. Can I use it with QuickBooks Desktop? Or if I use Xero, or if I use another accounting software, how could I use Keeper if it only integrates with QuickBooks Online?
Yeah, great question. And so I'm gonna make this a two-parter question. The first is, if you use Xero, then you will be in luck sooner than the other ledgers. So we are working on our Xero integration, and so that one should be live later this year. But I'm gonna go back out of here and I'm gonna talk about what you can do if you have an accounting client that's like maybe on QuickBooks Desktop or maybe on Accounting Suite. So with those clients, you have what we call non-QBO clients in Keeper. Non-QBO clients still have all of our workflow capabilities, still have a client portal that the clients can access, still have our file storage, in-app chat, and time tracking, but they don't have a direct sync back to the ledger. And so a lot of the things that you're doing in the ledger, whether that's generating reports, whether that's correcting transactions, those are not yet available. So you can still have a client connected as a non-QBO client for your own internal management and external client communications, but unfortunately that won't connect back to the ledger until we support that ledger directly.
Okay. Let's see. Linda is asking, as far as having team members, and does the pricing for Keeper, is that based on number of team members or number of clients?
Yeah, great question. So Keeper is priced per connected QuickBooks file. So it's per client, so it's not per user. So all Keeper plans include unlimited users. And I think it's worth mentioning that brings up the obvious question, like, what about non-connected clients? So what about non-QBO clients? So Keeper's billed per connected file, which means all non-QBO clients, anyone that's essentially workflow and client portal only, is completely free within Keeper.
Good to know. Ori is asking about the bank statements. So let's say that a client uploads a statement to Keeper. Will that automatically upload? Oh, wait, no, it's asking, will it upload from QBO? Like, you know how QBO can fetch statements?
Yeah, so the statements that are pulled from QBO or from the bank into QBO with QBO's bank statement fetching feature, unfortunately, those are not available in QuickBooks' API, so we can't see them.
Okay. Let's see. Cheryl's asking, are bank statements attached to Keeper also attached to the reconciliation in QBO? I think we just answered the same question. So if you attach it to Keeper, it doesn't send it to QBO, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So the thing to note about QuickBooks is not really all just like one app. It's like there's the ledger, and then there's these other products that are not as well integrated into the API. And so the two main products that Keeper can't see because they're not available in QuickBooks are the reconciliation interface. So you can't actually reconcile accounts from QuickBooks or from Keeper into QuickBooks, and then the bank feed as well. So the bank feed is actually kind of considered a separate product or separate feature within Keeper. Any transactions still sitting in the bank feed are not visible in Keeper because they don't actually exist in the ledger, which is what we have API access to.
Okay. David wants to know, can you forward emails to create a task? And can you create recurring questions automatically, such as commissions to add to a payroll check?
So the first one is not yet, but coming soon. That is also one of the top feature requests in Canny. And then the second one, which is can you create recurring requests, is definitely a yes. So that's right here. You click recurring questions, and then you can add a recurring question and choose how frequently you want that to repeat.
Fantastic. You know, one thing I wanted to point out also, that when you're talking to your prospective client and letting them know about all of the benefits that they have by working with you, that when you tell them that you have a dedicated client portal for, for communications, for uploading documents, that's a selling point, and there's value to that. So I just wanted to point that out because I've started to tell my clients that, and especially if you work with real techie clients, which we do, they get really excited about that. Michelle was asking about receipt capture by snapping a picture. So we know you've said already, Ben, that's not, we don't have the functionality yet, but would that be something in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have today is we have what are called reactive receipt capture. So like your clients can upload a file for you if you tell them, hey, we need this transaction, we need a receipt for this transaction. Can you upload a file for this? They can do that today easily within the portal. But to the second question, when we do add better sort of direct first-party support for receipt capture and storage, then your clients will just be able to go to their portal, click snap picture, and then that will go directly to a feed that you can use to either associate with existing transactions or to create new transactions out of that you can then match against the bank feed.
Great. Andrea is asking, when I reconcile accounts in Keeper, will that automatically reconcile in QuickBooks or vice versa, or do I still need to reconcile in both?
Yeah, so you are going to actually be doing the reconciliations themselves still in QuickBooks. So basically, the core flow for Keeper customers is you'll still code from the bank feed in QuickBooks, you'll still reconcile in QuickBooks, and then the rest of your month end you'll run directly in Keeper. And so the reconciliation, you'll still mark the task off as complete here within Keeper, but you're able to see the date of the last reconciled transaction and then any transactions in that register so that you can verify that the reconciliation has been completed.
And I was just quickly looking at the chat because people have more questions on the chat. So I think I have moved them. Yeah, someone's talking about the app called Uncat. Which is, I was trying to explain to someone. So I said, this is Keeper and this is Uncat. Okay, so Uncat does some things, but Keeper does so much more. Okay, so let me go back to the Q&A. I hope I'm not missing anyone's question. We have quite a few still, but we still have plenty of time. Ori is asking, if we have a question for the client about a specific transaction in QBO, how do we pull that transaction in?
Yeah, so if you have a specific transaction and it's not in a Suspense account and you just want to find that transaction, the best way to find that transaction is by using this search icon right here. So this is what we call search all transactions. And let's say if we have like a 79.99 transaction. So this is, I think, like, okay, we have this Payroll transaction we want to ask our clients about. You would search for it here in search all transactions, click ask client, type the type the question you want to ask, or use a template question, and then click Add it to the client portal. That would be the way to do it. You can search by anything here. So we can search like Facebook, and that will search for the statement descriptors. That will search for the vendors here. One other thing I'll mention, just since this came up, we can see we've got a bunch of these Facebook ads transactions that don't actually have vendors. And so one of the nice things you can do in Keeper is you can bulk edit payees. So we can just check these boxes here, click set payee, and then type Facebook, hit save, and that's going to instantly update all of these and add the payees here too.
Fantastic. Linda says after she's been using Uncat, and after seeing this demo, she's canceling Uncat. All right, Q&A, back to Q&A. Let's see, going back, it always takes me to the bottom. Kiara is asking, does Keeper dashboard replace Google Drive as far as organizing files? And I think there was another question as well of just talking about how does Keeper store files and what kind of security is there for that?
Yeah. So I want to speak to security first, and then I'll talk about organization second. So all Keeper, we spend a ton of our time thinking about security, because obviously that's like first and foremost. We want to make sure your data is secure, your client's data is secure. So all data in Keeper is encrypted at rest and in transit. At rest using a protocol called AES 256. So if you ever hear anyone saying bank grade encryption or military grade encryption or any of that stuff, it's all AES 256, 256-bit encryption protocol. And then at rest, or sorry, in transit using SSL and TLS. I should also mention this is not really so much of a security question as it is a sort of like broader like data location question, but we do only store all files and all data directly here within the US.
So it lives in Keeper. Are there plans to at some point integrate with Box or Google Drive in those?
Yeah, so excuse me. Definitely plans to support a more direct sync. Right now, they do all just live on Keeper servers, which are also continuously backed up. So that's another point about data redundancy, to make sure that your data does continue to live in Keeper. But we are also, I think that's somewhere in our canny as well, working on bringing in a direct sync so that you can leave your files where they are and then sync data to and from it as well.
Yeah, I think we're downloading the files and then we put them in Box still, just because that's where all of our files live currently.
Yeah.
Bobby was asking about and this, I think this is an awesome idea. I had not thought about it. A vault for client passwords, for password sharing.
Yeah, this is something we've thought a little bit about. I think there is an open canny request for it. What we see some folks do is they will put that in their notes section so that you can put your like client's individual passwords right here. All data in Keeper is encrypted, so this would work fine. I will say it's like not like we still would recommend using a password manager, just because I think you get a lot more out of the box. You get like password randomization, password generation. You get better better ways to like easily turn off and like switch passwords. So you could store your passwords here as well from a data security standpoint, but there's a whole lot more provisioning around passwords and changing passwords and connecting to 2FA accounts that I think you get just by going with the dedicated password management solution too. And password management solutions are well worth the incremental added cost.
Yeah, especially if you have a team. You really need to be using some sort of password management solution. Francis asking, what can I not do in Keeper that I need to do in QuickBooks?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned this earlier, but the two core things that you're still going to need to do in QuickBooks today are code from the bank feed and reconcile the statements themselves. So those two things still have to be done in QuickBooks. And then all of the rest of the review, all of the rest of the client communications, all of the rest of the reporting delivery, all of that can be done from Keeper.
Okay, fantastic. Starling is asking, which I think I know the answer to this, can we adjust the verbiage of the template questions? I believe you can, and you can. We have added many more questions.
Yeah,
I love that feature because you can standardize the communication and how even your brand, the way that you ask things it's all standardized. Our team used to spend a lot of time asking each other, like, how would you say this to this client? And now it's all standardized.
Yeah, exactly. And so the way I got here, by the way, was back on your dashboard in the template section. If you come here to questions, this is one of the types of templates that we have. And so you can see here, we've got BBP is a custom question that we asked. Is this business or personal? Info. If you edit what the question is here as well, this is essentially the button that will show up, and this is the question that will get populated when you click that button.
Fantastic. I mean, this is great. Again, scaling your business, hiring contractors, employees, you will still maintain the same look and feel of your, of your firm when working with clients. Okay, Mary's asking, in QBO, can you request the W-9 info directly to the vendor or contractor? Is that integrated in this too? I'm sorry, it says in QBO, you can request the W-9 info directly to the vendor or contractor. Is that integrated here too, or only when uploading the PDF?
Yeah, so the request to the vendor directly, that's in the works. So it's right here. And by the way, I'll mention, if you go in and vote on any of these features here as well, then as soon as we release a feature, we will email you about it. So if you're like, man, Keeper is the best thing since sliced bread, but it doesn't have this one thing, and so I'm not going to sign up. So if you vote on that feature here in Canny, we will email you as soon as we have that feature, and that way you can stay posted on the feature that is really important to you, so that you can make sure that you're staying in the loop on that.
I have a great question from one of our people in Canada. Is Keeper compatible with a QBO Canada version? Of course, we have other people joining us from other parts of the world. Is Keeper compatible with other versions of QBO?
Yeah. So I can't speak to other versions of QBO. So I can say with QuickBooks Canada directly, yes. As we've done a lot of work to make sure that that everything from the GST, HST side of things works properly. And so you can, for example, I don't think we have a Canadian file here hooked up as a demo, but all of Keeper's core functionality works properly, as well as you can also edit the GST, HST tax classification. So you can move something from like GST Ontario to like exempt or to out of scope and back. And so we have all of that official support for QuickBooks Canada. So you should have no problem using it if you're a Canadian, if you're doing Canadian books. As for other countries, we have not expanded the scope of our testing. So officially, we only support the US and Canada. It may work. There may be some edge cases. I would say if you have any questions on your specific region, like you feel free to email us info@Keeper.app, and we will handle those from there as well.
Mike is asking, can a client task be assigned from email? Which, there are other competitors that sort of, they encourage using email, and then that's your triage, which I'm totally against. But that's the question, so you can answer.
Yeah, this is a common question we get. It is a super common feature request. We don't have it yet, but it's definitely something in the works for the near-term future.
I still don't like it. I think just stop clients from emailing you, and then you won't have to set up a task from email. Just stop the source of the problem, then you don't have to create a workflow around it.
Well, but Veronica, I'll actually push back on you on that. I think having the ability to have a feature like that does help gradually wean your clients off of emails, for example. So like if the client asks you a question and they say like, hey, can you give us like the March financial statements, for example, then you can forward that in. And if you could forward that in and create that in the client portal and then answer the email and say, hey, sure, we have your answer here in the client portal. Then making that process as smooth as possible and continuously reminding your clients to go into their portal is actually what helps them wean off of the email, rather than just not accepting emails that come in from your clients.
I like that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Just remind them. I'm going to make a note of that for some of our holdouts, which I don't think we have many. Let's see. Debbie has a question for me. Veronica, does your firm do everything in Keeper that you would normally do in QBO? And so when do you go into QBO and what would you do? So Ben already answered that. That we're doing bank feeds in QBO still and bank reconciliations in QBO. We're running reports. So we're doing, I would say, the bulk of our, if you know about my 5-step bookkeeping system, which is record, reconcile, review, revise, restrict, the record and reconcile is being done in QuickBooks. The review and revise part of the bookkeeping steps are done in Keeper. So we're reviewing transactions in Keeper. We're revising transactions for the most part in Keeper, and we have all the communication with clients in Keeper as well. Let's see. Maria was asking, how does Keeper compare with other project management software such as Asana or TaxDome? Would Asana not be needed? And if I may answer, at least from my perspective, Ben, that we are still using Asana. So we used Asana primarily. I mean, that was the only project management software that we were using and using it to manage our clients. So we have now moved all of our monthly bookkeeping tasks over to Keeper. We've also moved all of our client onboarding, and I'm not 100% sure if we moved our cleanup clients yet to Keeper. And but we still manage internal projects. We have, we're doing, any kind of internal project that's going on in our company, we're still managing in Asana. So for now, I feel like Asana and Keeper very much complement each other. And if you have something else to add to that.
No, I would say that's a good like we see lots of folks who they will use Keeper for their month-end close and they will use Asana for other stuff. We see folks who have transitioned all of their work directly into Keeper. So it's a range. I would say if you don't have a workflow management system or project management system built out yet today, I would probably recommend just doing it in Keeper. I wouldn't recommend like setting up Asana and setting up Keeper. But for firms who already have like built out solutions, then sometimes it is just a better fit to like move stuff gradually or keep stuff in Asana, depending on what work that you do and you need to do.
Yeah, I would say from the perspective of a migration, because that's what we had to do is take things in pieces and migrate over to Keeper, is that we focus first on the monthly clients and made sure that that was working, and then started to add client onboarding. And I think now we're in the process of cleanup clients. And I believe I saw a question about how you would use Keeper for client onboarding. Ben, if you want to answer that.
Yes, we actually
have like a one-off project.
Yes, we actually have a whole best practice guide written out about this. But so basically, this starts in your project templates. Project templates are essentially one-off bundles of tasks for you to complete internally to your firm and questions that you need from your clients. So we have this new client onboarding task built up for you here in Keeper when you sign up. And this has a list of tasks for you to complete internal to your firm and a list of questions that when you add this project to a client will get posted into your contacts or your client's portal. So basically this is their intake form. And then this is your work that you need to do for them. So you add them as a client, and then you apply this new client onboarding template. And then you can also send them a new client onboarding email. And so in this new client onboarding email, then you can send them this email, and then they're able to get access to their portal from there. They're able to see everything that they need to know in that portal or here in this onboarding email. And then all of these templates are default, so you can customize them depending on what additional information you want to share with your client.
Fantastic. I love it. David is asking, what features are added with the premium subscription?
Great question. There are 4 core features that you get in Keeper Premium that you don't get in Keeper Standard. So almost everything that we've shown here today has been Keeper Standard. So that's the $8 a month plan. Keeper Premium, which is the $10 a month plan, gets you the ability to custom brand the portal. So put it behind your own domain instead of Keeper.app. It gets you the ability and of course, customize the branding here as well, add your logo, update the color scheme. The second thing you get with Keeper Premium is the ability to integrate your email so that when you email your clients, as we haven't talked a ton about that, but just to show you really quickly what that looks like, if you're in a client's close, you click client portal here, client emails, you can send your clients like, hey, this is the new client onboarding we just talked about, or like new questions, for example. So you can send them, hey, we have new questions in your portal. And in Keeper Premium, that comes from your own connected email. You'll see it in your outbox. Whereas from Keeper Standard, that comes from questions at Keeper.app to your clients. So it's just completely white labeling the experience. And then the other two features you get in Keeper Premium are client texting, you can text your clients from Keeper, and then tracking your time.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to answer someone and okay, we'll just answer her verbally. Can other members of your team have access? So yes, they can. And pricing is based on active clients and not on the number of team members that you have.
Correct.
And so we already answered Mike's question about a client onboarding functionality. If you can show us again, Ben, where they can add their request for enhancements.
Their feature requests?
Yeah, feature requests.
Yeah, so that's in Canny, Keeper.app.canny.io. Also, if you're in Keeper, good plug for our customer support channel. So a couple of things I'll mention here. So first is right from here, you have the ability, this will go directly into that Canny. So same link, but it'll be right here. And then also, if you send us a message, we really strongly believe that it's important to have great customer support when you're delivering software. We try to, like, because we use a lot of software, we know what good support looks like and we know what bad support looks like, and we want to be on the good end of that spectrum. So anytime you reach out, we'll get back to you within just a few minutes. So if you have a question about Keeper as well, then the chat in the bottom right-hand corner is also a great place to use that.
That's fantastic. And they actually do respond to you. And you sometimes wonder if they sleep, but they will answer you. Ori's asking about bulk editing in Keeper, say, for example, vendor names. Will that, so number one, is there bulk editing and will it update to QBO?
Yes. Answer is an unequivocal yes. So for example, transactions without payees. Let's see if we've got anything that has two here. So I can give, okay, I think I see two paddles. So we just search for paddle here, got two here. Now we can set the payee, add paddle, and then clicking save here, we'll add paddle as the vendor for both of these here.
Great. Jeff is asking a really good question about any training resources available for new users. So I would, I think, expand that question of, for your new users, so what do you do to help them get set up and onboarded so that they can be successful in implementing?
Yeah, great question. So if you sign up, you'll get an email from me, excuse me, that takes you to our Getting Started guide. That's an extensive written resource about how to use Keeper, everything you need to do to get up and running and get started. This guide will help you out with that. And then we also provide complimentary training. So if you need help, you need to figure out how something works. Again, we try not to just say like software is just like code, but software is a bunch of humans behind that code helping you figure out how it works. So we also provide complimentary training so that you can learn everything you need to do to get up and running in Keeper.
Fantastic. Adam is asking about doing tax work, and can he use Keeper for some of his tax workflow?
Yeah, so you can. I would say Keeper is definitely optimized right now for month-end closing work, or for, I mean, you can have quarterly clients as well, but for recurring accounting work rather than for one-off tax work. But so the same way that we talked about projects for onboarding, you can also have projects for your tax work. Or for example, if you do like an annual tax task or a bookkeeping client, you could have that as a recurring annual task, just like this. So we can make that a yearly recurring task on, like, let's say the 15th of January is we're going to kick that off. And then we can have that start in the first 15th or the 15th of January.
Great. Lisa's asking, can you add more than one template question at the same time? For example, if we need the receipt and we want to know what the transaction is for.
So you can't, but what I would say is, like, if that's a very common request, I would just create a new template like button for that. So I would do like receipt plus like question, for example, and then click that button.
Vicky's asking, does this get entered into Keeper directly, or does it have to be a project in QBO? I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Yeah, that might have been based on a particular time within the demo. So
yeah,
hard to work our way back to.
Yes. Tisha is saying she uses QuickBooks Online accountant, would it look linked to Keeper? So no, it's the individual client files that link to Keeper, not QBO accountant.
Yeah, but so if you have QBO accountant, basically what that looks like is when you go to add another client, it's going to prompt you to sign into QuickBooks. We'll see if I am forced constantly to sign in. But so basically the only difference there is, and I would say probably most of the folks here on this onboarding or on this call today are gonna also be using QBOA. So basically the only difference here is when you go to sign in, you're gonna have 2 drop downs instead of 1. So you'll pick the accounting firm, and then you'll pick your clients from here, and that's how you connect to QuickBooks.
Okay. It's asking, do clients need to download the app as well? So number 1, is there a Keeper app, and do clients need to download it, or are they? I believe there is just a client portal that they have access to. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So there's no app, despite the fact that our domain is Keeper.app. There is no app for them to download. So it is just a link that they access. And then one of the really nice things about that is if you custom brand the portal, if you completely white label it, then it's not even Keeper.app. It's just whatever your firm's domain is.
Yeah. Kiara is asking about, I think going back to when you were showing the reports, does Keeper create those reports? And then she's asking, is it easy to add a team? But I'm not sure if that's in relation to that same question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So if we come back to those here as well, these reports, all of these are directly built and customizable here from Keeper.
Okay. There's a lot of questions about receipts, which we have answered that there is not a specific receipt app at the moment, but you can request receipts directly of the client, but something is coming in the future, and we're all excited about that.
Yeah, I can't tell you, like, even personally for doing my own books, like I'm very excited about that. So
yes,
that's when you know.
I think we answered the question about using in conjunction with a CRM or to replace a CRM, and you said that there's a section, I think I took those notes, about in the client properties, or where you can put some client information. Let's see, Sonia's asking, is the monthly fee per number of clients in our QBO accountant?
Good question. No. So it's only the number of those clients to whom you connect to QuickBooks, or sorry, to whom you connect to Keeper. So if you have some clients, maybe you just are like, if there's for some reason why you don't want to connect that client, you don't have to. Keeper doesn't automatically connect all your clients from day one. You connect each client one at a time, depending on who you want to add into Keeper.
And this is a great question. So first of all, we have about 3 minutes till we are at 2:45 p.m. Central Time, which is about the time when I normally end the webinar. We'll probably go about 5 minutes after that, just in case if there are any additional questions, and if people want to stick around an extra 5 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll try to answer the remaining questions quickly, although there are many. We might have to do a part 2. Yeah, I don't even know if we're going to get to that because there are a lot. But okay, so this Adam is asking, what is the short-term and long-term roadmap for updates?
Great question. Not one that I can compress into any time frame that would be satisfactory here for the remainder of the time we have on this call here. So
that would be like if you book a demo, and then you can ask that question, Adam. So, all right. Does Keeper work with HubDoc or any other software apps? So basically, does Keeper integrate with other apps other than QuickBooks Online?
Right now, QBO is the only one. And I would say HubDoc probably not super high on our radar, given that our plan is to directly support receipt capture and storage. But since HubDoc does sync to QuickBooks, then we both touch the same ledger.
Yeah. Sure. I think it's Sheree or Sheree is asking about the pricing. So she's saying, can they sign up for Keeper but not connect a client and be able to kind of set it up? I'd almost think you'd probably have to have at least one client
Yeah, you do. So in the onboarding flow, the last step before you get access to your account is you have to connect at least one QuickBooks file. So that can be your own QBOA account if you want to get comfortable before you start connecting clients. But you do have to have at least one connected QuickBooks file to start your Keeper trial.
Yeah, but really, guys, it's so worth the money. I mean, I think you should charge more money, Ben, but but it's so worth it. Even if you're paying $8 or $10 a month. Well, and even if you get the discount from my link, you'll get a 20% discount within 90 days. You probably should be up and running, so that'll help with the cost. But even if you just sign up the one client and get familiar with it, get it set up, it's very well worth it. Janice is asking about preparing reports in Excel. Is that possible in Keeper?
So we don't have like an import from Excel. You can take if you needed to just like quickly get your like P&L balance sheet cash flow into Excel, you can come here into the metric section, which is where you can build out custom reports and custom metrics in Keeper. And then you can just like copy and paste that into Excel. So a Command C, Command V will do the trick here. But we don't have like direct import or export to Excel.
Okay. I'm going to answer a question from Jenny that is to me about wanting to hear how it improves the cleanup process. So Jenny, we're not quite yet using Keeper for our cleanup clients. So that's we've definitely made sure that in doing our Keeper rollout that we have taken things in sections. So the first was all of the monthly cleanup, the monthly bookkeeping clients. Next was onboarding. We've done some one-off projects, but we haven't done cleanup yet. So it is one of those things that we have to systematize. We have to make sure that everybody's on board in our rollout. And so it is perhaps a bit slower for us, just because we have a team that we have to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But I will definitely let everyone know once we start doing our cleanups using Keeper, how that will work.
And I'll mention as well, we have a best practice guide for this in our doc page.
Great. We'll make sure and take a look at that. Okay. Let's see. Does Keeper allow you to post a journal entry?
Not yet directly. There is actually one place for it, but it is so out of the way and it pertains to intercompany transfers that I won't really mention it yet. But so not directly yet, but we've got some exciting stuff in the works to enable that.
And there are many questions about just what do you do in QBO and what do you do in Keeper, which I think we've answered already. But again, if you guys, if you're interested in Keeper, you want to schedule a demo with them, do that. Let them know you heard about them from me, and ask some of these questions if we're not able to ask, or if you have something specific to ask of them. And there is no mobile app at this point. Is there an ability to text clients?
Yes. Yeah. So that's in Keeper Premium, but in Keeper Premium, you have the ability to text your clients.
Awesome. Ina's asking about Financial Sense. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with them. What are the advantages of Keeper as opposed to Financial Sense? Do you know?
Yeah, two questions. So Financial Sense is another project management software. One of the big important differences is that Keeper is connected to QuickBooks. So all of your QuickBooks data is getting pulled into Keeper. And so as a result of that, Keeper is not just a tool for tracking your work, but it is also a tool for doing your work. So that I think is really kind of the core difference at a nutshell. I can get down to the feature by features level implementation, but I think that's probably not the place for this call.
Great. Yeah, and we have 2 minutes. So this is a question I had not seen. Does Keeper have two-way authentication option for users upon login?
Two-way authentication option?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
I think like when you log in and then it'll text you a code like
two-factor. Coming very soon. Not live just yet, but yeah, two-factor is in the works.
Okay. Yeah, we have many questions and lots of people saying thank you. And so I think I'm going to stop there with the questions. But I want to thank Ben for joining us today. I think that just based on all the chat the chatting that I have been doing about Keeper in the past few months, and how excited I have been about it, that now Ben has been able to show you guys how the Keeper app works. I truly think it is life-changing for our business. It is a game changer. And it's one of those that it has so many features that, as I said, you may have to just start implementing and take your time as you do that, just so you can take advantage of all the features and all of the new features that are coming out as well. So once again, if you're joining us, we will send the recording of this session out to everyone who registered. And I'm actually going to post this in my YouTube channel as well, just so that, when people ask about Keeper, I can just send them to the YouTube channel also. Ben, any last parting words for our group?
I will just say thank you so much for taking the time, Veronica. I know I saw some customer names in here as well. So to any customers who joined us, thank you. And to any future customers who joined us, thank you as well. We appreciate y'all taking the opportunity to learn more about what we do here at Keeper, and we're excited by the prospect of supporting your practice.
Well, thank you, Ben, so much for joining us. And we look forward to doing another session with you in the future. And I expect that I will see you next month at the Scaling New Heights conference.
Indeed, you will. And I am excited for the next one of these that we do sometime soon.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we will see you next month for our free webinar. Take care. Bye.